up, everybody? Welcome back into TK Wrestling. We are here after a jam-packed weekend, Friday night SmackDown, Saturday night's main event, and
Woo!
then Monday night Raw last night. Yeah, man. We are in the road to Royal Rumble. Last night, of course, the go home Monday Night Raw for this week. Heading into Saudi, SmackDown going to be in Saudi, so talent all on their way. Matt had me very confused, thinking that Raw was overseas this week.
Dude,
He said
I mean, I thought it might have already gone overseas for Saudi, and then, like I said, the AI is like, I asked it, what time is Raw today? And it
Mhm.
told me, then afterwards it's January 19th. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not today, dude.
Yeah, yeah. He texted me at 1 p.m. He's like, "Hey, Raw starting in an hour," and I was like, "Damn,
I was
what?"
ready. I was ready.
So I went to go check. I said, "There's no way that from Saturday night's main event they already took because I think the flight to Saudi is like 17 or 18 hours." I was like, "There's no way they just jump on the plane out of the arena," and maybe, but I was taken aback until I checked. I was like, "Man, I think they're in Toronto tonight," and luckily they were, and I had a few more hours to prep to actually watch. But yeah, they should be on the way now, today or tomorrow, flying out there, headed that way. It's going to be a full action-packed week in Saudi. Their whole thing is they're trying to become the entertainment capital of the world by 2030. There are talks about them opening a physical WWE Hall of Fame in Saudi. So a lot of Saudi and WWE partnership moving forward. But Matt, how are you doing so far this weekend? Look, I hate to complain because I know we have a lot of people that deal with much worse than we do, but this cold weather's kicking our butt, man.
Well, I
It
mean,
is so cold.
we're down in the bayou. We're not meant for this cold weather, right? I mean, that's
Right.
the real thing. Like, my house is meant for the summers. My house is meant to let the air out, not keep the heat in. So, like, I have open floors, like in my kitchen, in a sense, where like you can see like to the ground, because we're raised up off the ground for flooding. So I can see the ground from my kitchen floor in some spots. So my house is not made for it, dude. I have been now. Luckily, like I said, I bought Expedition 33. I've made it 50% through that game, and that's kind of been between Saturday night main event, SmackDown, and Raw. That's been my weekend. Has been wrestling and an Expedition 33. I haven't even read comic books yet this weekend. It's been a good weekend. So
Hell yeah. Well, look,
you
I
got a
wanted
bunch of
to.
Legos done, dude.
Yeah,
You've taken over my place. You and Spence have become like the Lego masters lately. So
yeah, dude, my son, he's 4 years old, almost five, birthday in a few weeks, very, very, very soon. But he has lately just been infatuated with Legos as a lot of kids get to be. And yeah, we've jumped on the bandwagon pretty quick. I don't know where I moved the Skyline, but I built the Nissan Skyline with him. He's had a few Bluey sets. He's got a Mario set for his birthday that he doesn't know about yet. So yeah, we've jumped on the Lego train pretty heavy. And hey, look, you get to show a lot of stuff, like your comics and stuff sometimes on the shows. You've already seen this, but I wanted to show this because I've never shown this on the show. And watching SmackDown last week and seeing Uncle Howdy kind of reminded me of him. But kind of wanted to show off my little Bray Wyatt auto here
oh yeah,
for any of my trading card fans.
I,
I
for,
actually
I
pulled
forgot you
this.
sent that. I forgot you sent that in to get it graded. Yeah,
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 pulled it, sent it in to get it graded. It got a 9, hey, not terrible.
yeah.
And
No, not bad at all.
this was a box in my local GameStop in our mall that has now since closed. It was like my childhood GameStop actually, but it closed, and there was a WWE blaster box just sitting in there for months and months and months and months and months. And finally, it had like I think I got like a gift card and had a coupon with my pro membership, and so the box was basically free. And so I said, okay, I'll take the box. Went home, pulled this, and I freaked out. Bray is, I will go out and say, probably my all-time favorite. And so pulling an auto of him after he had passed, and then being able to send it in and get it graded was pretty cool. I got a Dirty Dom back there too that I also sent in to get graded that I pulled. So yeah, just wanted to show off something for a change. I mean, I know I got a lot of stuff in the background, but yeah. So want to jump into the fallout of Saturday night's main event and then the fallout of Raw, and then a little bit later we're gonna record our Royal Rumble predictions. So get ready for that. My favorite time of the year. Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view slash PLE of the entire year. So I can't wait for it. But Matt, first of all, let's make sure we tell everybody to like, subscribe, or as I put in my notes, line and subscribe.
Linus, baby, Linus all day long.
Well, and to be fair, I was writing on paper, and then I just used the like scan feature and just
All right, all right.
didn't spell check it, and I guess my handwriting made the K look like an N. So yeah, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share with your friends. Go check out all of our socials. Make sure you go check out WWE Unreal Season 2, specifically Episode 2, if you want to see us for a split second. But the whole season's pretty great, along with the first season. If you haven't seen the first season, now's a good time with this cold weather to go just binge watch the whole thing. It's pretty great if you want to get an insight into how the backstage workings and the business happen.
And it's
But
not going to ruin
yeah,
anything for now. Like I said, it's all like a year ago stuff, I mean, it's like, it's kind of interesting to watch because it's kind of paralleling what's happening now in a sense, but it's a year ago. So yeah, you know.
yeah, and I like the added context that Unreal gives those storylines that we've already experienced. I think it does a lot of people are worried about what it might do to the business, but I think it's pretty cool in the way that it gives us a new perspective on storylines we've already like come to close, like had closure with and come to grips with
Mhm.
the fact that they're over, and then we get to see a different perspective of it, and maybe it gives you more of an appreciation or maybe an understanding of the talent. And I think one of the things that Unreal has really, really, really shown me, which is really opposite from the indie scene in terms of my experience at least, is that the wrestlers don't have nearly as much control as some people might think they do. Even the biggest stars at the end of the day are yes sir, no sir. It's very much, I don't want to, tribalism isn't the right word. I don't know where I'm trying to go with it, but there's still very much some old school mentality, pushed into pro wrestling today in terms of like,
Well,
the
it's the much bigger entity and it's got to make
yeah,
money.
it
Indie
does. It
side,
does.
indie side, you're trying to make money. You don't have a guaranteed product that makes money on the indie side. So if you want to push a storyline or push something that might, get new people to show up or get people to continue to come, they're usually all for it. But let's be honest, like the WWE, they have a large idea of what they want to do. And while they're open to input sometimes, it's like the whole thing that happened with I guess with R-Truth. We don't know still, was he fired? Was he not fired? Apparently he was never not on the payroll, but one of those things, it's like what's best for the business. It's interesting when it becomes a business and it's no longer just a thing you do.
Yeah, and one of the other things that I thought was really kind of refreshing in a way is just how many of the wrestlers were very still, I don't want to say insecure, but we're like very aware that this could all like disappear just like that. And they're very appreciative of where they are. And I'm so used to wrestling being like an ego driven business where when you get to the top, a lot of people, a lot of guys, a lot of gals, they change, and their mentality and how they approach the business changes. Some get lazy, some start to get entitled. And when you look at people like Becky Lynch, one of the most humble people I think coming out of that show, and you see like at the end of the day she's just like an everyday mom who still has this self-doubt about herself, even though she's maybe the greatest women's wrestler of all time. She
No, she
still
thought
has
she
all
thought she'd
this
been gone
worry.
too long. She thought she'd been gone too
Yeah.
long. She wasn't going to get a pop that everybody would, have forgotten who she was. And Triple H, is trying to reassure, like, no, they're going to be happy to see you,
Yeah, and the thing is like Becky has experienced that multiple times, and I think that just goes to show you that even after multiple returns and multiple big pops, there is still that worry of will they remember me, which is so like again, in a way, I don't want anybody to go through like stress or anxiety or anything, but it's kind of cool to see someone so like down to earth about it all and not like a like a Hogan or a Rock or a lot of those guys from back in the day when they had so much creative control. And even guys like Seth, who is maybe a little less humble than his wife but also respects the business in a really respectful way. So I don't know, I'm going on a little tangent about Unreal, but I just think that if you've got the time to watch it with this cold weather coming up, you're stuck in the house eating your warm food, snuggle up and watch some Unreal. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
100,
All right,
dude.
so
Like I said, 100. I'm with you.
let's go into Saturday night's main event Fallout. We won't cover the whole card like in its entirety in too much depth because it's been a few days. But I do want to talk about some of the things that haven't been answered yet since it's post Monday Night Raw. There are, Saturday night's main event was mostly a SmackDown driven event. So I do want to talk about some of the fallout from that. Mainly, what's next for Drew, Jacob, and Cody, because we were all hyping up this Drew and Cody match, and we thought it was going to be a really fun and really hype match. And then the pre-match brawl happens, and the match never happens. And then Drew comes out, and it's just chaos. And Drew ends up standing tall with Cody and Fatu laid out. And so I guess that's the big question, the biggest question coming out of Saturday night's main event is now Drew is so entangled in so many different storylines. It's like, what's next with Sammy being the number one contender, as we know now, and then again, Jacob and Cody being laid out. I'm very perplexed. And so two questions actually for you, Matt. What's next for these three? And are we really on the cusp of seeing an elimination chamber for a lot of these guys? Do you think that's maybe on the horizon?
I'm not sure where it's going to happen at. I mean, Elimination Chamber is obviously the next event after the Royal Rumble. Look, couple things. First off, we know Sammy's not winning at the Rumble. Like, go ahead and spoil my Rumble prediction, but he's not going to win. There's no way you've got this storyline going on. That is totally going to be fan service for the Saudis. And trust me, it's going to be a great match. And there's probably going to be 7-8 times where we feel like Sammy's got the pin, But in the end, Drew's going to go and take the match. And we're leading into what you've been predicting this whole time, which I've been trying to avoid. I do not want a 3-man match. I don't want that. I want these guys to have their own individual things and come together. I don't want to see all three of them. I feel like it waters it down a little bit at this point. Like, this rivalry is so intense between the three of them, but all on individual levels for different reasons, that I kind of want to see it play out organically in a sense. I don't want to shove all three of them in there at the same time and just get it over with. But I feel like, you've kind of been predicting we're moving towards that. And Case, I've seen your prediction come truer and truer each day, man. And after this no match that we had to open, which was fantastic. My God, like, look, we talked about how great that Cody and Fatu promo was on SmackDown the night before. There were points where at the beginning of the match, I didn't know if it was kayfabe. I'm like, did Fatu really lose it? Did he really just lose it? Like, damn, I'm just going to beat the hell out of Cody. I'm just going to beat the ever-living hell out of Cody. Because I thought that a couple times. Like I said, Cody didn't even get his ring jacket off to start the match. So
I was going to ask if you saw that little fall he took where his hands are still behind his back.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get the jacket off. Yeah.
I mean, so look, then it was fun. Then we did the fun thing where we went all around the arena, and when we do that, now that this is what it was meant to be, when they go in and out of the arena and all this stuff. And that was a lot of fun. I mean, Cody was throwing everything he could get his hands on at Fatu, from like somebody's Coke or something it looked like, or beer, to like popcorn but in the end, I was kind of surprised Drew came out and ended it. But when he did, then that was just like, put that rubber stamp on your prediction there, Casey. Like I said, we're going to have a 3-way match, and that's where I see it going. So I'm assuming you're not changing your predictions on this one.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought is yes, it is a triple threat. But again, like I talked about on last pod, I don't know, man. Elimination Chamber's coming up, and maybe we get to a point where, because Drew is just causing so much havoc, right? Maybe we get to a point where Nick Aldis, the SmackDown GM, says, hey, look, if you want to cause havoc amongst all these people and dip your toes in all these different bodies of water, per se, I'm going to make you handle all of it at once, and you're going to defend that WWE championship inside the Elimination Chamber. And so that, to me, feels more likely to be the result of all this than maybe the triple threat now, because I don't see how you push the triple threat all the way off till WrestleMania now. And it feels like maybe they could do it at Elimination Chamber, just have a triple threat match, and then maybe the Elimination Chamber match is just for the number one contendership for the title that's not chosen after the Royal Rumble. But if I'm booking the Elimination Chamber match, I don't know, it just feels like almost too perfect, that you can throw everybody in. And let's say one of these guys from this Fallout of Saturday night's main event gets left out. It would be Drew McIntyre defending against Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, Randy Orton, Damian Priest, Sami Zayn. Those are the 6 names. I'm leaving Trick Williams out. And then, without fantasy booking the whole dang thing, let's say we get to about 3 people eliminated and it comes down to Drew McIntyre. I mean, it would probably come down to Drew, Cody, and Jacob, if we're being real here. That's probably the 3 it would come down to. Let's say 4th is Damian Priest. Whenever that cage opens to let out who was eliminated before Priest, I think Trick Williams actually runs in and attacks Damian Priest, and I think that would probably set up their WrestleMania main event, or not main event, but WrestleMania match. You could probably have Trick just like beat the hell out of Damian, where he has to get like helped out of the arena after the fact. So that way he could be off TV for a few weeks. You could have Trick do a smaller program with somebody in the meantime, and then by the time Damian Priest comes back, you got like 4 weeks to build it. And I think that's a good amount of time with an established history already. So that's who I would want in the Elimination Chamber match. And I feel like that's maybe where we're headed.
What about Roman Reigns? We're leaving out Roman Reigns.
Well, I think Roman Reigns is maybe the favorite to win the Royal Rumble, which is why he wouldn't be in this match.
See, that's why. I mean, I figure we're gonna get a lot of kind of interesting subtext to this match in the Rumble, because we're gonna have Cody in there, we're gonna have Roman, we're gonna have Fatu. A lot of these guys are gonna be in the Rumble. I feel like we're gonna see a lot of stuff kind of, and the women's side too, play out in the Rumbles themselves. As I mean, I don't know, you like I said, you're more a Rumble historian than I am, but last year it felt like there wasn't a lot of storylines that were happening within the Rumble. It felt like more a lot of comebacks, like people coming back, and a lot of debuts in a sense. Like, here's Penta, here's, like I said, you gotta remember Penta was fresh last Rumble, new guy, and a lot of, like I said, returns that you weren't ready for. Like, here's Liv, or here's Alexa Bliss on the women's side. I mean, or here's Becky and whatnot. So,
and craziest thing about last Rumble, no NXT names in the men's Rumble last year. So that's pretty crazy, because I don't know if you count Obafemi as an NXT name since he's officially main roster now. But he's coming up. Anxious to see if we have any NXT names. We'll talk more about that in our Rumble predictions. I'm thinking about maybe even doing like a solo video of maybe like booking each Rumble, just like fantasy booking it, how I would do it. Maybe doing each Rumble and uploading those separately. Because again, Rumble historian, right? But I think it would be pretty fun. I love the Rumble so much, dude. All right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Rumble is going to be really important for establishing a lot of the context going into Elimination Chamber, obviously. But I don't want to say it's spoiling my Rumble prediction, but the favorite keeps looking more and more like Roman Reigns. So I think that maybe he's like just like sitting back watching the battles commence until there's somebody left that he can, finally, whoever is left, whoever climbs the mountain to face the tribal chief is who he will be ready for.
Like I said, Rob's going to have a good Rumble breakdown prediction thing. So I think we're all over the place, maybe on the men's Rumble at least. So
yeah, and look, if you like our predictions, and if you like just watching prediction videos in general, when we do the Rumble, we're going to have a bunch of different predictions, first and last, Iron Man / Woman, Final Four, most eliminations, and of course our winners. So a lot of different areas that we could differ on. So make sure you check out the Royal Rumble predictions coming up. Right. Let me pulling up the outline. All right. So yeah, we talked about what's next for Drew, Cody, and Jacob, and then we talked about maybe there being an Elimination Chamber match. Let's talk about the women's tag team title scene. We were texting during the show, and I think, although it was pretty obvious, called the 6-woman tag pretty immediately after all the shenanigans went down. We got that on Monday Night Raw, of course. But the big question I have, Matt, is do Kiana and Julia have a shot to actually take these?
No, just like as we found out in the number 1 contenders match last night for the men, the Alpha Academy doesn't have a chance either, So yeah, what do you want me to tell you? I mean, look, we need to have a couple I just wish it wasn't so obvious, right? Because I feel like Kiana, James, and Julia are two that are just, they're the only two that aren't going to win. Like I said, when we had Saturday Night Main Event, we're like, it could be the Judgment Day, or it could be, Rio. It could be either one. Like, either one could work, Right now, maybe at the end when all the dust is settled and all these ladies are ready to go into the main title card scene again, maybe that's when Kiana, James, and Julia take the belts. But not anytime soon. Not anytime soon.
See, I think it really just depends on what the plan is for the chamber. And I just feel like the stars align too perfectly for there not to be. I've been talking about it for weeks, but I think the stars align too perfectly for there not to be a women's tag team chamber match. And like, I'd have to go back and look. I don't know if they've done it before. And if they have done it before, they haven't done it very often. And so I think it would be perfect. I think the women's tag team division has never been as good as it is right now. So you might as well do it. And so when I'm looking at do Kiana and Julia have a chance, I don't think in this first shot at the titles, no. I think that Rhea and Io are winning. But I do have a sneaking suspicion that Julia and Kiana James might be your next women's tag team champions. I just think they might win it in a really sneaky way in the elimination chamber. I think that if we're working our way towards the chamber, there's no way that Rio keeps the titles out of there. I think that's the perfect scenario to take the titles off of them, where they can lose it in a multi-woman scenario, where they don't have to take an individual loss to a singular tag team. It could be like this crazy, grueling environment. I mean, 12 women, all duking it out in the chamber. It's a pretty good way to take the titles off of your most dominant babyface champions that you have, I'd say. And so when I look at like when the dust settles and clears, WWE is starting to show us that they take not only Julia, but Kiana James pretty seriously. And I think Kiana's got a lot of potential as well. I just wouldn't be surprised if when the dust all settles, Kiana and Julia are standing there and we're like, damn, Julia actually is a double champion, going into WrestleMania. I don't think that's too impossible. So do I think they stand a chance to win at this individual time against Rio? No. But in a multi-woman scenario where anything could happen, I think it's pretty likely that they actually do. This just feels like something that WWE would do. Give you the shot, and then they lose that first shot to think, oh, well, there's no way they're going to win the chamber match because they just lost. And then all of a sudden they're like, they actually are champions now. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, look, we're seeing all these women's tag teams slightly unraveling, right? I mean, from Charlotte and Alexa starting to unravel to Kyrie and Asuka starting to unravel a little bit, So no, it could happen, but I just see it, like I said, I see it with the unraveling of the other, of the other women's tag teams. So whenever it happens, I don't know what women's tag teams are going to be left for them then to defend against. Because right now we're talking about how this is just prime time women's tag team time, right? So when they lose the title or when they get the titles, is Rio going to still be a thing? Or are they done? Is that going to be when the not friends are officially not friends anymore? Or are they done? Are the Kabuki Warriors taking a break? Is Kyrie's turn on Asuka? Same with even Bailey and Lyra. They might be like the only ones left is Bailey and Lyra. I mean, they're going to explode, but they don't seem like their fuse is lit right now or something, or maybe it's a longer fuse.
Yeah, they feel like a fuse that's going to explode at SummerSlam, not WrestleMania.
Right. So
that feels like a little more of a slow burn.
So yeah, so I mean, I just don't. I mean, it's just who's going to be left in that division when they do win. Does their winning end up in a sense like killing the women's tag division? That's my question. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And then even the Judgment Day, we talk about maybe being on the cusp of implosion, and I think
like I said, we'll talk about the Judgment Day.
Really important for that. Yeah.
After the Rumble, we'll see what happens. 100%. A bunch of questions. This Rumble is I feel like there's more storylines. I could be wrong, but more storylines going into this Rumble on both sides, the men and the women's, that could just, than there usually are. I could be wrong. But
no, it feels pretty packed in a good way, especially for there only being 4 matches. You look at the card, and even for a Rumble match, you're like, 4 matches in Saudi,
right?
Like, come on. But then you look at all the storylines interwoven, and each Rumble might be an hour and a half. So
easily,
it kind of makes sense. So. All right, let's jump into the Raw Fallout Monday Night Raw results. We're not going to go too much into detail about the entire show again.
Oh, wait! You don't want to talk about Shinsuke and AJ, the match of the decade?
Well, I was gonna bring it up. I was gonna let us talk about AJ whenever we got more into Raw, so that way we could segue into it. But we can talk about Shinsuke AJ right now.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: we can talk about all of it together. Let's just talk let's talk about it all together right now. Let's talk about AJ right now in general. That AJ Shinsuke match, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That might have been one of the most brutal matches I've ever seen as well. Like, Shinsuke took a knee at one point that I swore knocked him out legit. I mean, I don't know how you take a knee and make it look that convincing. That was incredible. On the flip side, Monday night felt like it watered that all down. I felt like as soon as we got Punk and AJ for the title, if it had not been for the title, if it had just been a match, but once it was for the title, you knew AJ wasn't winning that title. You knew he wasn't winning that match. And all of a sudden, I'm wondering, why are we doing this? Why? Like, I mean, we saw in the end, it more was to serve Finn than anything else, right? I mean, I would say that final match of the night was more of Finn Balor coming out and letting us know what's up with Finn. But I mean, I don't know. I'm taking that AJ Shinsuke match and I'm taking it into the Rumble, and I'm feeling so good about AJ. And then I don't know, man. I just felt. I mean, tell me, am I wrong? Did the AJ Punk match kind of water down the beauty we got at Saturday Night Main Event, or is it just me?
I don't know that it watered it down because when you also look at the fact that Shinsuke AJ is a dream match, we've gotten it a few times before, and AJ Punk had never happened in their WWE careers against each other, so it felt like something that needed to happen. I don't really have a problem with the title being put on the line. I didn't think that AJ was going to win it, but I mean, we've seen crazier stuff,
But
right?
if the title's not on the line, then AJ could win, and all of a sudden, this match has a little more gravity, I guess. Because
Yeah.
actually, I really would have loved. I thought for a second, I mean, what if AJ wins, takes the title, and this is how Gunther gets the title back? Is Gunther gets the title back at Rumble? And that was what I really kind of wanted to happen for a second. Like they're not going to
That's
do
what
it,
I was thinking. That's what I
but I
was
was like,
thinking, dude.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I
I
was
know,
hoping that
I
was
was
where I
on the
was
same
going.
page with you. Yeah, I was on
Yeah.
the same page with you. I was like, "Man, AJ, like, the chances are slim, but, like, he could win this, and then maybe even if it's not just straight up to Gunther, what if somehow crazy we just get a triple threat where Punk gets the rematch, and now we're all seeing all 3 of them, and if AJ loses, not only does he lose the title, but he retires, and even if it's not a triple threat, then Punk could just go join the Rumble or whatever, but yeah, no, I think, flipping the title to AJ and then having AJ immediately drop it to Gunther and retire, man, would have been like you would have had to get Gunther private security to get out of the building. Like it would have been absolutely nuts. Yeah, I would have loved to see AJ take the title into Royal Rumble, and then all of a sudden we're talking about a whole different dynamic. The landscape has completely shifted in the entire company with CM Punk going into the Rumble at that point. But look, I thought the match was obviously really great. I loved how the first part of the match was them both really going to that like mat style, trading submission holds, really slow pace and technical style that while both of them maybe aren't best known for in terms of their, in-ring ability, they are both extremely technically sound, even at the age they are. And so I just thought that was really fun. I thought the match overall was fun. Interfering was okay, but what are we doing? Are we just running it back at the chamber now? We're just having them face each other in so you can get a CM Punk title defense in his hometown. Like, cool, I guess, but Finn's not winning that either. So, like, what are we doing? I agree with you. I think best case scenario would have been that either the title is not on the line and AJ comes out clean and brings even more momentum into the Rumble against Gunther, and no skin off CM Punk's back. He lost to AJ Styles. Like, cool, even as the world champion. Or B, AJ in a surprise shock takes the title against Gunther, and then Gunther takes the title at the Rumble. Those would be the 2 best options in my mind. And now I don't know where we're going with Finn and CM Punk.
No, that was the real problem. That's why it watered it down. Like AJ had all this momentum going into the Rumble, and then you have him lose. I mean, I know he didn't lose, but doesn't feel like a win last night. You know,
And on his last Monday Night Raw ever,
right,
probably.
right.
Like,
So it was
sure,
just
he can come out next Monday Night Raw and like give a proper retirement speech if Saturday is the last night. But on his last Raw as an active competitor, because we're assuming that he's losing
mhm.
at the Royal Rumble. Most of us are. And so if this is his last Raw for it to end in not only a disqualification in a world title match, but then you don't even really give AJ like camera time at the end of the show to like
Yeah. No, then it's
show
about
the disappointment.
right. It's about Finn and Punk at that point. It's no longer about it.
Exactly.
AJ just kind of disappeared from that match at the end. You know,
100% agreed. 100% agreed. Yeah, I just not the biggest fan of the way it was booked. And now this like maybe fuels the online growing speculation that AJ might actually win. Cause like
he's not.
this I don't think he is, but a lot of prominent people who don't get stuff wrong that often think that AJ is winning. And I just Man, I don't know. My brain, I see AJ lose. Spoiler alert for my Rumble pick, I guess. But I see AJ losing and going to TNA. I think that his verbiage in his stuff that he said on Raw was really important. And I think that sometimes people focus more on like the action and the psychology in the matches and don't really focus on the promos and the backstage segments and the stuff that happens, you know, outside of the matches. But AJ specifically said that Gunther was trying to end his WWE career. He specifically said that. And
Well, making it clear that there's other matches and other people and other places that he wants to wrestle, you know?
and at the end of the day, if there are people down in NXT he wants to wrestle and he goes to TNA like I think he will do, then they have that crossover promotion. And I don't know. He said that he wants to be world champion, and he said he still has people he wants to face. He still has old friends that wrestled with him back in the old TNA days that are out there in the wrestling world. I mean, Kazarian is in TNA right now, and that's one of the oldest TNA vets. And so I don't know, man. I see AJ signing a short TNA contract for the rest of the year, and maybe it's per appearance basis or whatever. And I could see, look, AJ said he wants to be world champion. Could he be TNA world champion in 2026? Hell yeah, he could. And he's probably going to go to Japan. And I don't think he's going to go to AEW. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think Japan and TNA are very much on the table. Ring of Honor, even maybe. There's a lot of guys out there that he can still do work with, but not a lot of them are in WWE anymore. Like, sure, you could find some people oh, this would be cool to see them against each other. But a lot of AJ's dream matches or like last time ever matches that we really want to see, you could argue are outside of the company. So I just wouldn't be shocked if this is, because who said this? I think it was Santi that said this. This is very reminiscent of the Shawn Michaels retirement against The Undertaker. It felt out of nowhere. And a lot of people felt that this was going to be the end of the Undertaker streak because no way Shawn would just retire this quick and would throw his career on the line. And then he lost. He lost a year before. So they said, well, they're going to split the series between the two, and he's going to take the streak. And then next year we'll do the third. We'll do Shawn Taker 3. And Shawn lost and he retired. He had to. And so a lot of people are saying that this is very reminiscent of that in the way that it felt out of nowhere. And I think that he's done in the WWE, but I don't think he's done wrestling for the year. He said 2026 is the last year, and he said that he wants to be a world champion. I think he's just going to wrestle in TNA. I think he's going to go back to his roots and really help elevate that company a little bit. Because look, at the end of the day, if he's helping to elevate TNA, he's at the end of the day still helping to elevate WWE and NXT. So I think that's where he's going.
Yeah, no, and I don't think it's a surprise. Like I said, he told us. He's been telling us 2026 was his year. We're just surprised it's early 2026, not November 2026. That's all. Look, he's been telling us. Don't be surprised. It's coming. Royal Rumble. It's over.
Crazy, man. I can't believe it's already happening. So I just, man, all my childhood favorites and like long-standing, most tenured wrestlers are starting to go. When Ray goes, it's going to really hit. It's going to really be for real. All right. So I'm trying to think of any other big things of note that we really need to do. Michael Cole, of course, sat down with Gunther. They had that little backstage, sit down interview where Gunther even threatened, Michael Cole a little bit. He said, if I wanted to retire you and beat you so bad that you'd have to retire, I could do it right now and nobody could stop me, along those lines. I thought that was really cool. I like the smug laugh and smile in your face, just like pure evil Gunther. When that's what he is, he's the best. And that's what we really got with Michael Cole.
Well, the women's 3-way match, or 3-way, the women's 3-on-3 match, I guess.
The 6 women,
the 6 women match. The biggest takeaway for me on that one, let's talk about this one real fast. Is Stephanie Vaquer really hurt? Because we had her in the boot, and then we have her not in the boot, but then she's limping at the end of this match. So is she really, is she really got an ankle injury that we're not maybe? Is this really going to affect? I kept wondering, is it kayfabe? Is it not kayfabe? But the end of the match, it seems like she hit a move, and she's kind of limping like the rest of the match after that. So did she come back too early? Where are you at on Stephanie Vaquer? Because I'm really excited to see her and Raquel go at it. But I want it to be two healthy ladies, so.
Yeah, from what I saw in the injury reports, she was cleared, but she was dealing with like a nagging injury. And so I think it may be the case of she probably does have like a minor injury that's nagging a little bit, but the 6 woman tag is a really good way to protect her and keep her from not having to wrestle in the match a whole lot while everybody else does a lot of the work. And so I think that they're going to keep her protected. You can keep someone protected a lot more when they do segments like a beatdown. Even if somebody is quote unquote targeting the ankle, you can easily sell spots that make it looks like it hurts really bad without hurting the talent. But like you can sell a beatdown spot without hurting the talent more so than you can hope that they don't twist their ankle again running the ropes in the match. That's more likely than hurting somebody in a beatdown angle. And so I think that she is a little injured. I think that she's probably dealing with something nagging. And I don't know. Part of me wouldn't be shocked if she maybe drops the title before WrestleMania. We've seen some like shocking stuff like that. Specifically, I think of Eddie Guerrero and Brock Lesnar back in 2004. I think they had this little short angle. Or I don't want to say short angle, but they had this angle going into No Way Out, which is what Elimination Chamber is now. So last pay-per-view before WrestleMania, and Eddie, who was, it was not a secret that he was an addict. Brock Lesnar called him out for being an addict, and it was a whole big thing. And Eddie gave this like fiery, impassioned promo, and it really just like flipped the whole rivalry on its head. And then Eddie ended up taking the win and stealing the WWE Championship right before WrestleMania from Brock Lesnar. And so I wouldn't be shocked if maybe we see something like that, where Stephanie is maybe dealing with a nagging injury. They keep her healthy enough until she's able to get to Elimination Chamber. Maybe then you could do something like a quote unquote squash, not necessarily where Raquel just like beats her down so bad, but maybe she just targets the ankle early. And then you can really sell that all match. Raquel can walk away your world heavyweight champion. And then, you can probably do the post match beatdown and write Stephanie off of TV for a while to go deal with whatever recovery she needs to. So I think she may be dealing with something minor, but I think it's hopefully working towards a Raquel world title run, because I think that's what a lot of people want at this point.
I also want to give Raquel props. I don't know if you saw, but like she was wearing what looked like a Deadpool inspired outfit last night. Very thought it was very cool. Don't know if it was on purpose or not, because the other two, Liv and Roxanne seemed like they were in their red and black kind of, but she had like a maroon and black thing going last night. Looked very Deadpool esque. I don't know if it was on purpose or not.
I'd have to go find it. I don't just not off the top of my head, don't recall it by memory, but yeah, I'll have to go find that. All right, let's see. Major talking points as well. We have new number one contenders for the WWE Tag Team Championships, or the World Tag Team Championships. Of course, Otis and Tozawa walking away as the new number one contenders. Kind of saw that coming after the confrontation they had backstage with Jay a few weeks ago. Not terribly surprised. I thought the match was fine. It's about what I expected from a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. And fun for the audience, too. Tozawa and Otis got a lot of hype from the crowd. I think they were pretty over, and not shocked to see them win it at the end of the day. Don't think they're taking the titles off the Usos. But my big question, where the hell is Jimmy, dude? Is everything okay? Like my brain tries to not go to the worst, right? In like that he's been gone for a few weeks and Naomi's at home with that baby. And so I just hope that everything's okay, just putting into the universe that my thoughts are with him. But Jimmy's been gone off of TV for like 3 weeks now, and it's just been Jay. And, we put the tag team titles on these guys to not see half of the tag team champions on TV and then have the other half declare for the Royal Rumble. So I'm just curious if maybe we are due to see an upset, and maybe are we working towards Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania again? Are we not? Are they staying a tag team? I don't know. Things are kind of up in the air, especially with Jimmy not being on TV. But at the end of the day, even if Otis and Tozawa don't take it, I think it's going to be a fun match, and I'm not mad about them being number one contenders.
Look, give me all the Otis and Akira Tozawa that I can get. Like, look, those guys, they don't get enough love, and it was so nice to see them win. I don't believe they're going to beat Jimmy and Jay just because it doesn't make sense. But by God, I want to live in a world where they do. So, and I'm hoping that Jimmy's just home with the baby. I'm hoping that's what it is. They're just giving him, some time right now. Because let's be real here. Yeah, they could be defending maybe once, but they're not defending at WrestleMania. They weren't working Saturday Night Main Event. You're not going to put them on Raw. Maybe they're going to be on the Raw after the Rumble. You know what I mean? I could see them coming back and doing something. I don't know when this tag match now is supposed to happen. If they're waiting for Elimination Chamber, which feels like it'd be a long time, So it's got to be on a Raw coming up. I don't know where do you put this tag title match at, Casey? How long are we waiting on this now?
Yeah, I would assume it's probably on a Monday Night Raw coming up. I'm inclined to believe because I just remembered. I'm glad you brought up title matches on Raw because I forgot that they announced in a backstage segment last night that Stephanie and Raquel is next week for the title
Okay,
after the Rumble.
all
Yeah,
right.
so it's going to be on Raw next week. I wouldn't be shocked if they put the tag match on that same exact Raw. If they just, we open up the Monday night or we open up the night where they're doing the intros and stuff, and then they start showing us match graphics. Maybe they show us the Usos showing up to the building, and that's when they pop up the match graphic happening tonight, world tag titles, whatever. I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they do. So I would say probably as soon as next week because it looks like we're gonna have a women's tag or a women's title match next week on Monday Night Raw. So why not give us the tag title match as well? Yeah, give it to me next week. I think it's gonna be a really fun match. I think their chances of winning are less than, but man, how crazy would it be? I think it'd be so fun.
I want to live in a world where the Alpha Academy gets the win. Alpha Academy gets the win. Who else? Maxine Dupree gets the title, but like, give all the gold to the Alpha Academy.
Yeah, and I kind of, you talk about Maxine. I'm glad you brought that up because we heard from Natalia last night, her talking about the reasoning that she turned on Maxine. Look, call me crazy. We talked about the women's tag division. Going to be a little light soon. What if we're working towards a scenario where Maxine kind of like agrees with Natalia in a way? Maybe Maxine feels that she has gotten a little too soft. Maybe she wants to embrace a little bit more of her rugged, extreme physical side, and she starts to like see eye to eye with Natty, and because like the Hearts are notorious for the dungeon and for being physically imposing and being really physical trainers. And so what if Maxine starts to like respect in a way what Natalia did and her message that she has? Look, I just don't think that it's crazy that maybe we see a little bit of a different attitude for Maxine in 2026 at some point, and maybe instead of the student becoming the student overcoming the master, maybe we see a situation where the student kind of sees what the master is doing and is like, oh, I kind of agree. Like, yeah, maybe I do need that. And so maybe we see a little bit of Maxine embracing her darker side, I guess you could say, from Natty. And maybe we see those two go into the women's tag team scene later on in the year, whenever maybe it's a little bit more depleted. I just wouldn't be shocked if maybe we see them as women's tag team champions down the line, where they've like beaten respect into each other instead of it being like stabbing each other in the back. Because I want to say in that segment where Natty did turn on Maxine in that match with Becky and everything, it almost felt as if Maxine was trying to like fight back in a way of it felt they were trying to make it feel more realistic and physical. And it almost felt the way that their backstage vignettes felt when they were like, fighting each other in the
Right,
dungeon when they
right.
were training. It gave off that little bit of a vibe. And so maybe Natty was trying to like in the way that she does in the dungeon beat some respect into Maxine, and maybe eventually she does, and maybe they end up as a tag team down the line. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that. It would make sense because, as we said, once the women start moving the ones more towards the title card, I can see them being in there in a tag group with Kiana James and Julia, and with Bailey and Lyra. I could see like that little grouping, and maybe one more tag team, working out really well. So that could be a thing. We just have to get there because right now it seems like they're destined to have a match of some kind, and I don't know enough about Natalia versus Natty because she said like Natalia does this, Natty decimates or something like that. So I don't know enough about who this Natty personality is, but she's coming.
Yeah,
I'm happy, and I liked her hair. I really liked her hair in the promo. Her hair looked really good. So
I agree. Yeah, I'm excited about what we're gonna see from that because I think there's a lot of potential. All right, we talked about really everything, right? I think we hit all the major hotspots for all. Did I miss any backstage segments? Maybe.
I mean, there's a couple backstage stuff. There was Raquel going and looking for Stephanie after that women's six man match,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it was funny because she came up to Bailey first, and I swear if Lyra hadn't gotten there, like, if she got in there a second later, I think Bailey was about to crack up laughing. She looked like she could not, like she was about to lose it. It was great. I love Bailey and Lyra. Like, give me as much Bailey and Lyra anywhere I can get them, backstage, on the mat, whatever. They're a lot of fun to watch. And then there's also the segment with Becky and Asuka, or Becky and the Kabuki Warriors, which I thought was really nice, because Becky's like, Kyrie, did you tell Asuka that you're the reason we lost? Could you remind Asuka that real fast? And so, I mean, like I said, that's just all priming it up, priming the pump for this women's Royal Rumble match. It's going to be incredible. Real quick, going back to Jimmy. Jimmy isn't in the men's Royal Rumble match, right? Or he's not yet.
As far as we know. Yeah,
okay, so we'll see if he shows up for the Royal Rumble. But I really think he's getting some paternity leave right now. I think he's just taking as much paternity leave as he can, telling WWE, look, if you don't need me, I'll be with Naomi and the baby. You know?
Yeah, well, because the baby's not here yet, as far as we know. She's not due until like March or April. So if the baby's here already,
I saw this is AI. So AI could be lying to me. You know, that wrestler Naomi recently had her baby boy with husband Jimmy Uso. Yeah, that's what AI tells me. Now this is me searching it up, and I don't know, maybe not yet, but AI is probably just lying to me.
I don't see anything.
So first thing AI tells me, I said, did Naomi have her baby? Yes. The WWE wrestler Naomi recently had her baby boy with her husband Jimmy. So it's probably a lie. You know, AI can't tell me what day it is.
Yeah, I Googled it, and I'm not seeing anything breaking at all. So I think the only thing I'm seeing, because I said, has Naomi had her baby? And it's just talking about how they announced it was a boy.
Yeah, maybe it's just a gender announcement that AI doesn't realize or something.
But hey, one thing that we did miss that I was scrolling through, not in my normal format. We didn't talk about the Vision and everything that happened with them.
Oh yeah, we have the Vision, the Rey Mysterio match, and the post-match beatdown. Adam Pearce letting them all into
the face-to-face, yeah. So of course we find he announces that, hey, look, not only is Braun Breaker going to be in the Royal Rumble, but all four of you are going to be in the Royal Rumble. And I think that, you know, later in the night, they came to the agreement that they were all going to focus on making sure that Braun Breaker won the Royal Rumble. I think that maybe Adam Pearce's intentions were putting all four of them in to create some sort of like tension. What's going to happen, who's going to whatever. I think we could see a situation where maybe Austin Theory accidentally eliminates one of the members of the Vision.
That was going to be my one question. Is this when we start to see Austin Theory's true colors? Like I said, if we really still believe he's like a Seth plant, is this when we see Austin Theory like, oops?
Yeah, I think there's a really good chance. And I think that maybe even we see a situation where Austin Theory let's say he accidentally eliminates Logan Paul. Right. Let's say that just accidentally happens. And the Monday night after the and maybe that's the downfall. After that, all the members of the Vision start getting eliminated. And maybe the Monday night after, instead of them being like, oh, you did this on purpose, they just play up the fact that it was a stupid mistake, playing on Austin Theory's like inexperience or whatever. I don't know. You could do something like that. And then maybe the Vision says, hey, look, you might not have done it on purpose, but you did it. And if you want to still be in this group, you've got to accept a punishment. And I think maybe they just give Austin Theory like a beatdown. Maybe Braun Breaker hits him with a spear. Logan Paul hits him with a frog splash. Bronson Reed hits him with the tsunami. And then after the fact, they just carry him out. And it's just like, hey, look, you messed up. This is your punishment. And after this, we're good. And maybe that is what starts the wheels turning in Austin Theory's brain. Or maybe that's what the audience is led to believe, that's what led to, Austin Theory starting to turn down the line, at least. I'm not sure how exactly you book it, but there is going to be some tension in the Vision and the Rumble. I just sense it. There has to be. I think that Braun is going to go the deepest into the Rumble out of all four of the members, of course, but I don't think that I think there's going to be something in the Rumble that causes some tension. But yeah, I thought the whole thing is interesting. Who did Adam Pearce talk to? That's still the biggest question that I have. And I hope we find that out eventually.
Oh, you mean on the phone? Yeah. No, that is a good question. Who was he on the phone with last week? Ooh.
And I don't know, maybe we don't find out, and maybe it's just like supposed to be, maybe it's insinuated that it was The Rock.
Or it's the
because
powers that be,
Paul,
whoever it be. Yeah.
well, because Paul and The Rock already have that connection between Paul, Rock, and Roman, so Heyman already has The Rock on speed dial, quote unquote, you could be led to believe. And so maybe I just hope they don't leave it as like hey, it's open for interpretation that he talked to The Rock and The Rock said to let Broad Breaker come back. So I just hope they don't leave it open ended. And I hope we do find out who it was that Paul Pierce, or I keep saying Paul Pierce, that Adam Pierce, not the basketball player, Paul Pierce, that Adam Pierce is speaking
Who's
to
Paul
us.
Pierce dunking on now?
Yeah, right. Paul Pierce dunking on Adam Pierce. But yeah, so would be remiss if I left out the division stuff. Of course, Theory defeated Rey Mysterio. Nothing much to write home about. But he does pick up a win over a WWE Hall of Famer. And of course, a lot of the luchas involved, and I think we're headed towards a 6-man tag at some point. Maybe the night after the Rumble.
I mean, we'll see what's look. I just, man, Penta took it, dude, at the end there. I mean, like, I thought at least one time he was going to get a leg kick up and face plant Braun, but man, like they threw him into Braun going at his like 23 miles an hour. Like Penta took a spear. Wow, it was nice.
Yeah, dude,
it was nice.
Yeah, I thought a fun segment overall.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Trying to make sure we didn't miss anything else, but no, I think that's about it.
No, it pretty much covers all of Raw, like you said, and all of, like you said, unless you want to talk about, the only thing we didn't talk about was Sammy winning Saturday Night Main Event, but I'm sure we'll get to that thoroughly when we get to our Rumble predictions. So,
I mean, yeah, we didn't really talk too much about it, but I kind of figured, yeah, we would just wait till Rumble predictions because the fallout of most of that we don't really know much until SmackDown. So we'll have to wait and see about all that. But yeah, I think for Saturday night's main event and for Monday Night Raw, I think we're pretty good.
All right. Well, cool. Like I said, check out the rest. Like I said, hit us up. Check out our previous episodes. Make sure you're checking out Unreal if you haven't. We might be on season 2, episode 2 at the 31-minute mark. Well, not us, but Casey's luscious hair might be on there. And then come back, check us out because we're going to do some quick Royal Rumble previews here in a minute, I think. So.
Yeah, so make sure after this you go check out the Royal Rumble predictions that we've got coming up. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share with your friends, make sure you check us out on all of our socials. Like Matt said, check out WWE Unreal Season 2. And yeah, until our Royal Rumble predictions, TK Wrestling is out of here.